Good morning. My name is Gary Evans. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. As we continue to connect in our online worship, we become even more aware of how important it is to find a time each week to worship together, to explore this new reality together, and to receive information and inspiration. At our church, we believe that we are united by a universal love that binds us in mutual care and affection in our work for justice for all and for this planet. Our faith is all-inclusive, and all means all. If you are new with us today, we welcome you. Wherever you are on your faith journey, we invite you to find your place with us.
Hi, we're the Garza Dan Weber family. My name is Esperanza. I teach 4th and 5th grade RE, and I have served on CRAF and the board of directors.
I'm Sean, and I'm a playground volunteer and occasional RE sub.
I'm Emiliano, and I'm a middle schooler.
I'm Octavia, and I'm going to be in 4th grade. I'm a medical, and I love reading books, and I'm going to be in 2nd grade next year.
We light this chalice for inner peace, for love for each other, and for faith in ourselves, and for the greatness, for the mystery around us.
Let us recite our covenant that binds us together as a community. The words can be found below the video in the order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. Our reading today was written by Marilyn Stavanoa. It's titled, It Takes Bravery. Just as we recognize founding members of this church, I think we should recognize the newest members as well. They have the moxie, the curiosity, and the bravery to live outside the religions of the many. It takes bravery to decide you are a reforming humanist or something else not popular in society at large. In the chapel in Prague, there is a sunflower-designed window. It is because Reverend Capek used them as illustrations so often. To me, it meant we thrive as much as these flowers on bright sunny days. and offer steadfast roots for the cold days of doubt. But we have to be replanted yearly, and that is the hardest part for a new member to figure out. Longtime members just wiggle their toes and remember why they must replant themselves where the sunshine of perception, doubt, knowledge, and meaning grow. Today in our flower communion, we celebrate the many, many petals around all those seeds.
Annaliese and I are pleased to be part of a special ceremony today. According to the American Heritage Dictionary, a commissioning is the act of granting certain powers or authority to carry out a particular task or duty. In many churches, there's a common misconception that the leaders of the church run things, that the board or the leadership council or committee chairs has all sorts of power to get things done and that everyone else essentially coasts along following the direction of leaders that have been set. Some people even think the minister has this kind of authority. This is not true, especially for us. As a congregationally based tradition, all power in Unitarian Universalist churches comes through the congregation and is bestowed upon the leaders, including the ordained leaders, to carry out specific service for the good of the whole. Today, then, we take this reality seriously and formally bestow upon our chosen leaders the authority they need to carry out the works we have assigned them. This commissioning service is an opportunity to give our blessings to the ministries these leaders will provide in the coming year and to affirm their sense of calling to the roles of service they claim and to which they've been elected or invited to serve as leaders. To be sure, these are people who give much to this church. And there are others who do the same, who give of their time and talents, and whose names will not be called upon this morning. There will be people who will be recognized for doing things that they are not currently being acknowledged. Our intent today is to affirm those whom we have set apart through election at our annual meeting, those who have taken upon themselves one of the institutionally recognized roles of leadership. And this is no small thing. These leaders need our blessing if they're to do what we've asked them to do. These people need our affirmation and our support, for they are no different than the rest of us, and they have entered into ministries of shared leadership for all of our sakes. Here then, the names of these elected and invited leaders of our congregation as Annaliese reads them.
For the Board of Trustees, Dorothy Wallace, Gail Morrow, Donna Pereira, Heather Hedquist, Tess Bobo, Terry Palin, Sarah Silva, Troy Peters. Committee on Ministry, Justine Hansen, Diane Dusterhoft, Pam Kirk, Cassie Biella, River Fay. Trustees of Community Responsibility Endowment Fund, Ruth Castillo-Dean, Diane Carl, Donna Reed, Ozma Khan, Jason Northrup, Heather Merrithew. Leadership Development, Anona Sobchak, Sal Lopez, Rebecca Edgen-Harrington, Karen Davis, Vicki Tullius. Denominational Connection, Chara Rodriguez, Mike Phillips. Green Team, Linda Nash, Cheryl Lardy. Member Care, Cheryl Ramirez, Betty Bergner. Membership Chair, David Rodriguez. Rainbow Inclusion, Carol Collins, Pam Eiler. Adult Religious Education, Jennifer Courtwright. Youth Religious Education, Nicole Meneses. Social Justice, Scott Emerson Price, Rico Espinosa. Worship Chair, Hiram Skaggs. Facilities Team, Christopher Gillis, Akosh Sabo. Maintenance and Repair, Ron Pena.
These are the people we have called to serve us. We invite all of you on the chat stream to respond when called upon and join in this service of commissioning, in many cases, your service of commissioning.
Do you, the members of this congregation, charge these new leaders to be guided in their work by your congregational vision and by the principles you affirm in common? If so, and as you wish, please type or say, "We do."
Do you charge them to affirm the dignity and worth of all persons and to champion the rights of children, youth, women, men, straight and gay and trans, old and young, that this indeed might be a free church, open to all people? If so, and as you wish, please type in, "We do."
Do you charge them to cherish our spiritual diversity and to help us live together so that we are strengthened rather than divided by our religious pluralism, so that we might truly cherish the integrity of each individual and search for truth with reason as our guide? If so, and as you wish, please type or say, "We do."
Do you charge them to honor our past without being bound by it, that we might be mindful of the past, yet draw on modern contemporary knowledge as we respond to our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual needs? If so, and as you wish, please type, "We do."
Do you charge them to hold in their hearts the needs of the wider community in which we live, so that we live out our devotion to the common good in community, nation, and world? If so, and as you wish, please type or say, "We do."
Members of our board, you are charged with keeping sight of the big picture, in holding our vision, honoring our past, and guiding us toward our future. Are you ready and willing to accept this charge? If so, and as you wish, please type, "We are."
Committee chairs and committee members, you are charged with keeping sight of your particular piece of our community's multifaceted mosaic, with advocating for the needs of the area of our communal life, which is your specific concern, and working with one another for the common good of the whole of us. Are you ready and willing to accept this charge? If so, and as you wish, please type or say, "We are."
Do you, the members and friends of this congregation, affirm these elected and invited leaders as volunteers who need your support, your participation, and your appreciation, as well as your caring and concern? If so, and as you wish, please type, "We are." In response to and as a sign of this affirmation of your call to service, I invite all of us to give a blessing for these volunteer leaders. And here are some words of blessing. May you all have the presence of mind and heart, the vision, perspective, faith, hope, and awareness to feel and absorb all the love and good wishes which surround you in this moment. For all that has been, thanks. For all that is, take a deep breath. And for all that will be, a big yes. Blessed be. Thank you. And now, let's enjoy some music from Slowpoke.
What if you threw a ball up into the air? Instead of falling, it just stayed suspended there. Would you drop everything, pick yourself up off the couch, alert the neighbors, or stay quiet as a mouse? You went to work and came home tired and rubbed your eyes, walked in, put down your keys, but now the ball is burning bright, and all around it floating, shoes, the couch, the pets, imperfect orbit around a thing that can't exist. People of Earth, please don't be afraid. A new galaxy formed here in Texas late last night, before the shops turned on their lights. What if you threw a ball up into the air? Instead of falling, it just stayed suspended there. And all around it floating, trees, the house, the hedge, imperfect orbit around the thing that can't exist. People of Earth, please listen to me. A new galaxy born in Texas late last night, before the shops turned on their lights. People of Earth, please don't be afraid. A new galaxy formed here in Texas late last night, before the shops turned on their lights, to both our horror and delight. Yeah, yeah.
That was terrific. Thank you, fellas. It's time to share our joys and sorrows, our revered Sunday morning rite. I invite us to enter into our hearts and minds and remember that during this time of so much turmoil, uncertainty, confusion, that it's important that we stay connected. Ours is a welcoming community designed for such connection. It's a spiritual community where we make meaning, a sharing community where our joys are heard and celebrated. Ours is a caring community where our sorrows are felt and held in compassion. So at this time, at every time, we find ourselves not only as a part of all the things that are going on, yet also more deeply involved and connected with each other. So let us join in meditation, entering into a moment of peace as we write our joys and sorrows on the chat screen and listen to Jaime's meditation music. Thank you, Jaime. I invite you to take a deep, cleansing breath as we share this time of reflection and prayer. And as we pause in our day and sit in the presence of the great mystery of life and love, may we remember that our spiritual home is made up of many connections. Mostly, we see these as relationships between you and me, between each other. When you share with me what is important to you, when you share with each other things that are important, this is where listening begins. The listening of our ears and the listening of our hearts. When we say that our lives matter, this is where compassion begins. When we open the doors for each other, this is where hospitality begins. When we venture out to bring you back into shelter, this is where love begins. When you risk your own comfort to ease someone else's suffering, when we act against hatred, violence, and injustice, this is where courage begins. When we experience the full presence of each other because of our shared humanity, because of our differences, because of all these things that make us who we are, this is where holy gratitude begins. So we breathe in a deep breath of gratitude and we exhale a long breath of gratitude. Keep breathing in and out as a symbol of the connection that we are, grateful for our relationships. Amen. It's time for our invitation to generosity. We give to remind ourselves of how many gifts we actually have to offer. And we give to remember that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in amazing music, profound words, sacred space. We give with the faith that together we have enough. We are becoming our own version of beloved community, and I invite us all to consider the level of commitment that means for each of us. You may make an online offering right now on our giving portal through the link on the screen while we enjoy some more music from Slowpoke. Thanks so much, Troy and Slowpoke, for the offering of your special music. It's a tribute to life of a most engaging kind. May we be reminded today that there is no church without its people and that we are this church. May we become more as one, especially in our connections to each other and our service to each other and to our wider community, which are all made possible by this offering which we receive today. Amen. My message today has to do with our flower communion, which we are celebrating in this most unusual and virtual way, and its origins, its history. I wonder how many of you have heard of Norbert Fabian Capek. He was an early 20th century Czechoslovakian Unitarian martyr. You see, in the early 1940s, he was imprisoned by the Nazis for listening to foreign radio broadcasts and preaching freedom. He eventually was sent to Dachau and was gassed in 1942. He also was the architect of our flower communion, and today I wish to recount his story of this special day which we celebrate. You see, I believe Capek's life is worth knowing about. His was an example of a liberal religious spirit come to flower amid rigid orthodoxy and intolerance. He brought a message of hope, freedom, and joy to people disillusioned by established faiths. His was a dream of a new religion founded not on dogmas, but on the divine spark which is in each person. Capek was born in 1870 in South Bohemia, a little village which looks almost the same even today. He apprenticed to his uncle in Vienna as a tailor until he was 18. When his relatives discovered he was no longer practicing the Catholic faith and had undergone adult baptism as a Baptist, outraged, they kicked him out of their home. And instead of going back to Bohemia, Capek became a Baptist missionary. Yet his unresolved question of what he called his evangelical period was this: how can people who believe that salvation is assured to all who accept Jesus also claim that those who do not believe are damned to an eternal hell? And if that is true, how can they express indifference toward the suffering of thousands of people without trying to bring them the good news of the love and mercy they claim could redeem such suffering? Sounds like something a Baptist missionary might ask. Sounds like something you or I might ask. In these early years, Capek wrote and published a book called Fragments of the History of Persecuted Christians. His biographer, Richard Henry, believes it was largely this study which led Capek to start leaning toward Unitarianism. Capek became a free thinker even while he was still working as a Baptist minister, founding churches, recruiting members, and becoming the chair of the Baptist churches of Moravia and Slovakia. At this time of the late 1800s, the modernist movement was evolving. Scholars were exploring the new techniques in biblical criticism and revealing such things as the multiple authorship of Genesis, and that Paul probably did not write all those letters traditionally associated with him, and questions about authenticity of other books of the Bible, especially the Gospels. A distinction began to be drawn in religious life between the Christ of faith and the Jesus of history. This growing trend in religious modernism was that the Messiah, the Christ of faith, might be more of a spin than a fact. This matter led to such turmoil among Catholics that Pope Pius X issued an encyclical in 1907 condemning modernism as leading to the annihilation of all religion. As a result, some liberal priests considered leaving their ministries. Capek became very aware that Czechoslovakia was ready for something new, a faith without dogma, a free Christianity. He didn't know quite what he was looking for, but he wanted to be ready. So he contacted Professor Tomáš Masaryk, whose work on the religious foundations of Czech culture and identity had interested him. He asked for a meeting, hoping to get some idea of what this new religious movement might be that his country was so ripe for. It's a legend among UUs, writes Richard Henry, that upon meeting in 1910, Masaryk told him, "Why, Capek, you're not really a Baptist. You're a Unitarian." Masaryk agreed with Capek that what humanity needed was a new kind of religion, yet he also cautioned that the people were not ready for it. He urged Capek to attend an International Association for Religious Freedom gathering in Berlin. There, Capek was among 3,000 attendees from all over the world: Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Taoists, Tibetan followers of the Dalai Lama, Jews, and representatives of every variety of Christian belief. Capek copied down these words from a speech by Professor Vaswani of India. Quote, "We dream of the day when the nations of the West, discerning the nature of God's new dispensation of grace, shall be ready to accept this message, the message of one religion in all religions, the one logos in all prophets, the one word in all churches, the one soul in all scriptures, the one Father immanent and operant in universal humanity." Close quote. At the end of World War I, as his friend Masaryk was appointed president of the new Czechoslovakia, Capek had a crisis of faith. In 1919, he broke with his denomination, Baptist denomination. He resigned. And at the same time, 1 million Czechs left the Roman Catholic faith in the aftermath of the war, with the dissolution of the age-old alliance between church and state. It was finally time for a new religion. Capek called his religious congregation the Prague Congregation of Liberal Religious Fellowship. And in April 1922, they had their inaugural service, and a year later, in 1923, to celebrate the first anniversary of this new fellowship, Capek wrote the Flower Communion Service as a, quote, "new experiment in symbolizing our liberty and fraternity," unquote. Each member was to bring a flower to symbolize their individual character, and the flowers in the vases were a symbol of belonging together as one spiritual community. Capek wrote, when they go home, each is to take one flower just as it comes, without making any distinction where it came from and whom it represents. To confess that we accept each other as brothers and sisters without regard to class, race, or other distinction, acknowledging everybody as our friend who is human and who wants to be good, unquote. This is what we celebrate today in our flower communion. On his 70th birthday in June 1940, Capek's congregation gave him a radio. Now, it was against the law to listen to foreign broadcasts, but Capek did anyway. Every morning in secret, he would tune into the BBC, and what he learned he would share with his congregation in subtle ways during their meetings, because there were people watching. Now, his youngest daughter innocently let this information be known to her medical doctor, and on March 28, 1941, the Gestapo raided Capek's apartment as he was listening to the BBC. He and his daughter were arrested and taken to a prison in Dresden, Germany. And in spite of 2 trials, both of which ended in minimal sentences, Capek was caught up in Hitler's retaliation against the Czechs. Between 40 and 50,000 deaths resulted in this backlash. Capek's trial transcripts were ignored, and he was sent to Dachau. He spent 14 weeks there, wrote 7 letters and numerous hymns, and he was sent to Hartheim Castle to be gassed on October 12, 1942. In memory of Norbert Capek, and of every expression of free thinkers, and especially in memory and in thoughts of all the participants of our free faith, we celebrate this morning's flower communion service, grateful for Capek's gift of community, of truth, of love, and for his life. For our final prayer of thanks and benediction, we use flowers in our ceremony this morning to symbolize the love that is hidden deep in each of us. Flowers are beautiful, and so are our feelings of love. Their beauty cannot be measured, and neither can the feelings of love be measured. Flowers are short-lived, yet new flowers replace them, just as new love is constantly coming into our hearts. Small buds can represent the new babies who have joined us this year. Before they could even lift a hand, they learned to smile. Before they could speak, they learned to love. May we help them keep this love in their hearts so that they will pass it on to others for many years into the future. Some of our flowers represent people living all over the world. Maybe we'll never see them face to face or touch them or be with them. Yet we can still know the love in their hearts because we know that their hopes are like our hopes. Their pain is like our pain. Their love like our love. All of the photos we show today of you with flowers are images of our love and beauty and life to brighten our church and gladden our hearts. They remind us of our in-person flower communion, in which each flower is brought by a different person and gathered together, representing our entire community. You see, I believe we long to know each other. We long to know what's in each other's hearts. And we long to grow into a beloved community where each is known and knows. Each is valued and values. Each is loved and loves. May we remember this truth throughout our day, our week, our month, and our life. Take heart. Amen. After Jaime's postlude, let those of us who wish to join for our coffee hour gather on our Zoom link. I hope to see you there.